All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts.
Here, if you have a beard, random men are going to always walk up to you and try to lick your beard.
Ew, that's so disgusting. Oh.
You're one of them's kidding.
Hold on, so I'm like, nope. Oh, well, you lost all your fleets.
Oh, fuck. Not what we intended. Oh, God. What do we do?
The Meta Show.
We're live.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, everyone, guys? Welcome to the Meta Show. Sorry, he just made me bust out laughing before the show actually started. Like, literally, the intro starts playing, and I can't stop laughing. Oh my god, I'm crying now. It's gonna make my makeup run! Oh! Oh, man. But guys, let's...
Best adventures.
On screen with you guys today is myself and Mr. V. No Matani today. He decided to opt out yesterday as I was planning on everything for the show. So I had to completely redo everything. But Dear Leader doesn't really care. But I guess we're going to kind of swing into things, guys. We're going to talk about some Fozzie Sav, what's going on in Delve, and then just EVE in general. So, like I said, with me today, best FC in the game, Mr. V.
Hello. Thank you. But the best FC in the game is Iceman DK, not myself.
Oh, okay. Thank you for clearing the air with that.
Just to put that straight.
Well, I guess before we get into it, how about a little bit about yourself, since some people might not know who you are?
Yeah, sure. Like, if we go really far back, you might know me from the goon of a group called Bomberwash, which is now in the good hands of the Big Red Boat. After that, I FC a lot of big fleets for Goonswarm Federation, later the CFC. And since about a year ago, 1.5 years ago, I pretty much focus exclusively on European Gooning, which is one of the squads in the CFC. I've gotten a bit tired of the large-scale stuff, so we do about 100-man fleets, roughly. And
I've heard EG gets almost as many kills as Theta.
It depends who we're shooting. If we're shooting hostiles, we don't get so many, but if we're shooting blues, it does things.
Oh, yeah.
We got closer to destroying the CFC than NC and PL ever did in one evening, I think.
Sure. I don't think we should bring that up. I mean, there's a lot of mean mugging inside the CFC for what, like 2 months because of that.
More, I think. 3 or 4, because it started when we quote stole unquote a Revenant blueprint, and then 3 months after that it came to, or 2 months.
2 months.
Anyway, let's just sweep that under the rug.
Yeah, that never happened. Come on now, B. We're not trying to drag up old stuff like that.
We just had a good little scuffle, and we're all shooting hostiles again in Fozzie Sav now, I think. EG has actually deployed for the first time in, I lose track of time quickly, but I think it's somewhere around 5 months. And
and is this deployment under the direct tutelage of Iceman DK?
Yeah, he's leading us.
So what fits the Iceman DK come up with for this deployment?
Let's not go there. It's got the Iceman thing before it really gets off the ground.
Oh, all right. So, Delve. I saw that there was a little bit of a whelp, little tiny bit of a whelp the other day. I watched the video, and it looked like he was growing pretty well until a certain fleet entered the grid. So what happened there?
Yeah, that was actually like, it didn't actually, while we were doing it, it didn't really feel like that, but suddenly it was one of the most ISK lost in a fight in quite a while, or not the most, but it was one of the bigger, more eventful fights that happened the past month. And what happened basically was that EG deployed, like I said, for the first time in quite a while. And because the suitcase carriers, the carriers that you pack full of a load of doctrines and go somewhere, kind of got, well, they got nerfed to the point where you don't really want to take them into too dangerous territory anymore. So we picked one doctrine to deploy, and like one doctrine only, which in our case is Macarials. They are extremely versatile. We can refit them in very many ways, so we figured that's the one doctrine that can do a bit of everything. And they're also very fast, so we deployed those. And because we haven't done anything in so long, people had some spare ISK and figured they would buy a little extra value for their max if that's the only ship they're going to fly. So we are running pretty expensive fleets, and clearly the first thing we did when we got there was that we wanted to pick a fight. We went to Aridia, close to Delve, and the target here is basically just to pick a fight with anyone of our size that we can handle, which in this case is NC Dot and PL. And I think NC Dot went to go reinforce the tower, so it was a good opportunity for us to go there. We saw PL was forming as well at the same time, but we were hoping to get a little bit of private time with NC Dot before PL dropped in. Trying our new doctrine, which we haven't actually tried in a big fight, so a lot of things were new. Haven't FC'd for a while, so I was pretty damn rusty as well.
I hear a lot of excuses right now. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, I'm putting out all the excuses and all the disclaimers.
I mean, I led this off saying you're the best FC in the game, and I'm getting nothing but excuses now.
You built it up, and now you're gonna break it down bit by bit.
He's gonna go cry in a corner after this while he watches the Dota 2 tournament.
Yeah, I think I want to deploy.
No, I mean that's the biggest problem in my opinion with Phoebe is all these deployments used to happen and you'd have a few different doctrines with you and your carriers, but now the hostiles that you deploy to know you have this one ship that you're going to be bringing, and they just completely counter it. Like when we went to Amencia with the U.S. time zone with Ishtars, and then they brought nothing but stuff that would counter Ishtars.
Yeah, and Ishtars were a doctrine that could fight almost anything. Mm-hmm. And that's why they were so popular, is because they could. That's if you have to take one doctrine that could fight in almost every situation, you would take Ishtars. And now I would say Macarials are definitely one of those. Like you also see Cerberus fleets have become really popular, but they can't fight everything at all. Macarials can fight everything, and you could see that in this fight because we were outnumbered heavily. We went in with about I think we had a 100-man fleet. We went in against a Loki fleet supported by carriers and super carriers and Titans, and all in all, NC Dot had about 160, 165. And we had our autocannon fit on, warped around 50 kilometers to the Lokis. And actually we did surprisingly well, like nothing got reps, we were volleying through everything until a massive swarm of super carrier fighters got onto us, and I had no idea how well we were going to tank that. It's been a while. We couldn't.
The tank quality was about, what, 0? I mean...
Yeah, I mean, some people got saved. I think we lost like 12 max and traded something like 20 Loki. So ISK-wise, we were on top there. And then the fight kind of relocated, bounced around, and then at one point, NC Dot extracted their supers, and we went in on their support again. We were winning quite heavily, and then made a pretty big mistake there. Probably because I was rusty. I just didn't. For some reason, I was just too arrogant to think that it would actually happen or something. But anyway, the PL hot dropped with Proteus and scrammed their microprobe Macarials, and then dropped supers and dreads, and it wasn't very pretty.
Yeah. I watched the video from the PL Guardian pilot perspective, and literally as soon as they jump in, the FC says just burn straight for the Macarials and scramble them. So I mean, they obviously refitted just to tackle you. I mean,
and there was a way out. I mean, we knew that PL was on a Titan ready to go. What I should have done in hindsight was just to burn or to keep the fleet aligned, because Macarials have good range anyway. So you just kind of align out, and as soon as the designer goes up and the drop happens, you just bail. I would have died myself because I was tackled, but most of the fleet would have gotten out. But it's just stuff that happens. I think everyone on our side was super happy to get a nice fight, and for once, I mean, there's a lot of bad blood between NC Dot and Gunsworm, of course, throughout the years, but I think everyone was like friendly to each other. Everyone was just happy to get a fight, and like both sides, good fighting in local. It's pretty rare.
Yeah, ever since FozzieSoft, there's been quite a lack of good fights. I mean, what's your opinion on FozzieSoft so far? Just from what you've seen in game and what you've experienced.
I'm not sure. Personally, I don't really like it, but I don't consider myself to be in the group it's aimed at. I have serious symptoms of just getting kind of bored of the same thing over and over again, and I don't think FozzieSoft necessarily changed all that much. It's the same thing in a different kind of package. Taking the command nodes and taking SOV, it's always been effort to take SOV, and the longer you play the game and the less you really like have a grudge against people because you know everyone quite well. It just doesn't seem so much worth it anymore. But what you do see in Fuzzy Sov is that it's, or Aegis Sov, whatever, is that it's I think it's aimed towards new people who still have a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of motivation to go out there and do whatever is necessary to carve out a little bit of space for them. And I think that's working, mechanics-wise, but I don't know if there are that many people who actually want to dive into nullsec. That's my worry, that the new generation, kind of, which is supposed to stand up and these mechanics cater to, just isn't really there.
Yeah, well, you aren't really seeing too many massive fights. You saw a lot of action over on the east side with the Russians and Triumvirate. But like you said, you don't see very many groups, new groups that is, forming to actually take Sov or actually taking the initiative. So it's...
Yeah, I mean, there are some, but not that many. Like Cloud Ring is contested to some degree by new entities, and of course you see Scalding Pass area is just an absolute mess. But it's all very, very safe, if you know what I mean. Like the only places that people are going to poke into are right next to NPC nullsec, and that means that no one will ever really own it because you never get the defense multipliers up to any degree.
Yeah, and we had Master Plan on the show, I think 2 weeks ago, and he said like the average time to take a system right now is 6 hours. That's kind of
that's a lot of. Well, I mean, the thing is though, back in the days, if before Dominion Sov, even when it was pause warfare and people were fighting over systems in pauses and stuff, there were fleets all the time, and then a 6-hour fleet would be like a short one almost, because you had to continuously reinforce and kite towers all the time, and that was, well, at least maybe I'm romanticizing it, but I remember it as quite fun, because there was a fight going on the entire day almost, like skirmish fight the entire day. But nowadays, capping command nodes is also a big skirmish fight in a way for hours and hours, but it just, at least for me, it doesn't feel the same. I think the problem really lies now, or the challenge lies not in necessarily the mechanics, which can be tweaked, but just getting people hyped about EVE again. It's showing serious symptoms of just getting old.
Yeah, I mean, they make a good point. And I mean, back when it comes to the POS spam days, you had to put your dreads on the field. I mean, there was a level of risk there to actually put capitals on grids, because as soon as they went into siege, they were vulnerable to be able to just have a fleet warpath and kill them. And I think I've been asked this quite a bit lately, and I just think people are too smart right now in the game. I think the upper level of the game needs to go die in a fire and quit to be able to rejuvenate, to bring people up into those positions.
Yeah, like this might sound a bit dark, but if someone like blew up FanFest with all the prominent leaders, and then there was a massive marketing campaign to get new people into the game, it would probably be in a healthier place. In terms of just, you need new people, new alliance leaders, new FCs, because there aren't even that many new FCs. It's all the same people still around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I actually used this. I used this analogy the other day on my stream. Is they need to get everyone to a boat, all the leaders and FCs and stuff like that, and then take it into the middle of the ocean and then sink it. And my stream got really, really mad at me for being so brutally honest, I guess.
It is a bit dark.
Yeah, but it's the truth, in my opinion. I mean, I
think if you look at, I mean, this is also, I mean, being in charge of the fleets of European and Gunian, I don't think we add all that much to the game. I mean, okay, we're adding something now because we have sat on a bunch of moon money for a long time, and we have money to spend, and we don't really care anymore, so we just throw ourselves into fights that aren't super favorable. But we don't participate so much in the grand scheme of things. We form a fleet only ever when someone else is doing something. Someone else has to put something at risk first, and then we go and pounce on them, which is the same thing that NC. And PL are doing, and Black Legion are doing most of the time. And that, I don't think it's very healthy for the game. But anyway, not to sound too grim, but I think in terms of mechanics, Fuzzy Sov isn't even that bad. You can tweak things, you can nerf the troll scepters and maybe reduce the nodes, but it doesn't bring a critical mass of new players into the game, and that should be looked at some way.
Yeah, Master Plan did mention that they will hopefully be moving along with tweaks. I think my biggest concern when it comes to regards to FozzieSoft so far is they released it and it disappeared. I mean, we haven't had a dev blog about FozzieSoft. We haven't had anything about FozzieSoft from CCP since they released it last month. That's most worrying.
It's the summer holiday, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, people do need to get the feeling that CCP is there and like working on it, because if CCP is not actively at work on it, then why would people put in the effort, I guess? But I think that just has to do with the summer holidays. I read an interesting comment somewhere. Someone said that the This Is EVE trailer that pulled a lot of new people into the game kind of came too early. If they could make a trailer like that and pour a lot of new blood into the game at this point in time, it would be better, because the tutorial system is supposed to be better now. I haven't had.
It's not that much. I tried it I tried it a couple weeks ago on my Newbie Tuesday. Well, it's got a lot of gaps and it needs a lot of work still. Like it's better than it was, but it still lacks a sense of direction.
All right.
But I mean, they're working on it.
Yeah. Oh. I think that is just ultimately the key. Get new people playing this game, new blood. Hopefully, topple down some of the old guard, one way or the other. That said, it's super fun to be playing again, though. It's because it's been a while. It's actually really fun to log in again and see the same faces from a while ago are still around. Mm-hmm. That's what keeps a lot of us around. It's just all the communities we've built up.
Yeah, well, like you're talking about, you don't. Back in the days with POS spamming, like that, you had a lot of empires. I mean, you had Band of Brothers, you had ASCN. I mean, you had was it D2? Versus me was around.
But do you think it's a problem that we don't like space hate anyone anymore? Like Band of Brothers was furiously disliked. The closest thing you can get to hate in a video game, I suppose, and so were we. But I think that's diminished a lot. You don't even see that many Gurgoon Reddit posts anymore. It feels like people just don't like. It feels more like apathy than that people really dislike someone. Back in the days, for actually disliking someone, you would go through disgusting lengths. I mean, the pulse dropping in Delve and stuff, and the 12-hour fleets, and all the effort we went through in the good old days, I suppose, overcoming stupid mechanics just because you wanted to destroy an alliance. That's barely.
You have a good point. You have a really, really good point, and I think that actually might be a big part of it. Because I've been playing Arcade lately with Manfred Sidious, who I blew up all of his shit in BR5. I mean, there's no hate there. I mean, we're friends. I mean, in E-Vegas, I hang out with Headliner and Elise Randolph. I mean, all the other guys that's typically around. So there is a lack of animosity between players now at the upper echelon.
I mean, look at the last times the CFC deployed to go to war. The last time we deployed for real was that Fountain? Or Delve? What was in Delve? Who was in Delve again when we took it last time?
Was that the last time we took it? It was Sword Dragon that pushed into it after the Fountain thing.
Yeah, there wasn't even fights really. It was the last real war we did was Fountain. Or no, that was
the Halloween War.
Halloween
Curse. And then
yeah, but we didn't really. But we didn't really care about the Halloween.
No,
we didn't really hate anyone.
No, that was just us going for something to do. Really,
we're happy to go kill some Titans, I guess. But but the last
it was. We
really didn't like Test, or we didn't like Montolio. That's why we went to war. But we used to really dislike Black Legion too. Like we used to dislike them so much that we put our entire coalition on top of their station on dock and camped it for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And now they actually have space we could be taking, and no one gives no one gives a crap. We just need to hate more people. That's probably a thing to take away here.
Yeah, we need less friends.
We don't even like NC Dot is taking space again, and we don't even dislike them. We don't dislike Vince. Vince is a funny character. Like he's always himself. He's always Vince. But we used to dislike him to the point where we'd go to war for it.
Well, right now the problem also is why would we leave Declan to go to Delve to fuck with NC Dot? Because with Phoebe and all that, it's just such a pain in the ass to get down there.
It's a pain to get there, and once you're there, you can take all the stuff, but they won't fight us, really. I mean, why would they fight into a massive blob? Because we have to go back at some point, and then they just retake it.
Exactly.
There's the only, like, wars with meaning, I suppose, can be fought between neighbors who want resources. You see 2 of those fights going on now. You see one, or actually, is there even any? Like, you see Triumvirate pushing into Innsmother, but that's more for fights than resources, I think.
But I know there was a grudge there between. Well, speaking of grudges, like we were talking about people with Gur hating each other. Try's pissed at RA because RA said they were going to help versus Death, and then they got their space and then fucked off and didn't help. So now Try's pissed at them, and that's why they're attacking him.
Fair enough. But didn't also PL deploy to Delve to be all like, Gur, Darkness, Dot, we're gonna kill Sword Dragon, and then they timed everything to Australian time zone, and nothing is happening.
According to Elise, they went to Delve because Nully was supposed to move to Delve, Black Legion was moving to Delve, and the Sword Dragon was in the area as well. And then as soon as they moved, Nully kind of failed cascaded and canceled their move up, and then Black Legion canceled their move up, so now they're just sitting there by themselves.
So they're bored. Okay. That's why they dropped us, I suppose.
Yeah.
Need to get some kills.
Oh man. But no, I mean,
It sounds all kind of grim and dark. Can we talk about something positive?
Well, we have Providence coming up, and coming up, joining us here shortly is Max Singularity. Which, Mr. V, would you like to stay around to talk Max Singularity?
Yeah, I've heard so many stories about Max. Let's.
All right, let's bring Max in. Maybe we can liven things up.
Yeah.
V and I are doing a very, very bad job of it.
Yeah, I guess bitter old vets just.
All right.
Maybe we should have just talked about FanFest adventures.
like we did before the show started.
Bedroom adventures at FanFest, that is.
All right.
Like, could we add maybe a snore emote to TMC channel?
All right. There we go. I believe Max is connecting. Edit. Alright guys, we do now have Max Singularity on joining us. First of his name, Pope of New Eden, our true savior, and I'm forgetting a bunch of more of his titles. I actually started Googling. I'm just trying to find them all, and I couldn't find them all. Normally this is the Mittani spiel. So, Max, if you would please ordain us with your full title.
You did actually pretty good.
Okay.
So all the titles, well, my name is Charles White, and and I play Max Singularity on EVE Online, and all of the titles have there's a character, Sidonia, who's been collecting all my titles that have been given to me by players. I have not made one up, so I've been running with player participation. So okay, it's even hard for me. Alex is actually better at it than I am. So here I go. Okay, so it is the Harbinger of Faith, His Holiness Maximilian Singularity VI, first of his name, Pope of New Eden, Paragon of Virtue, Bane of Jamyl Sorum, True Emperor of Amar, although I dispute that one.
I'm Laz.
Hi, Laz.
I'm B. Hi. Nice to meet you.
You may call me Charlie if I'm laughing. If I'm serious, then I'm Max or His Holiness. Because it's been a laugh. It's been an awesome role playing gig that's been going on. It's taken us. That's literally the royal we into directions we've had no idea it would go. Even CCP has been a little shocked by the disdain for the false empress.
Well, at FanFest, when the Mittani approached you to kiss the ring, how'd you feel?
Oh my God! Well, actually, he was not the first. There were several people that came over, and they just, without my consent, bent before me, and I would reach out and help them up, and they would then kiss the ring. I'm like, well, this is a thing.
I'm not sure how I would handle. Well, never mind. I was about to say, well, I would show you people's bodily fluids in my hand, and then then again, people are looking.
I started carrying around a spray, and I would clean it every time for respect of my parishioner. But when the Mittani kissed my ring, somebody at that charity, I think Scion, took a photograph, and that was like it was called the most shocking photo from FanFest. And then after he did it, I had Core Blood Brothers, I had Siegel, I had Guard, I had oh God, Torfy. I had 30 people. So now there's talk in FanFest 2016, which I won a free ticket for my cosplay, they might set up a booth where I can have people sit on my lap like Santa Claus and give them blessings. But
so, V, are you going to get a FanFest next year to get the Pope's blessing?
If I can get, wow, I'm just a bit surprised. So all of your roleplay persona is basically made up by other people.
It is. It is. So what happened is I made one video called The Horror, which was based on an Apocalypse Now speech. And I called it Max Sunday Sermons because I'm an Amar and I'm an admiral. And, you know, I figured, you know, I'd be a priest at the same time. So I called it Amar Sunday Service. And a couple players on the Facebook group, there's two Facebook groups, Facebook Jita, which is one that I've created recently because we started going non-EVE posts. And then there's an EVE Online group on Facebook, and it's more EVE, but it has 10,000 members. And so we started kind of splitting off into the silliness of EVE as a community versus more the EVE Online stuff. Even though the forums are where EVE Online is really hardcore EVE, and the Facebook group is kind of quasi-EVE, but people were complaining because we were posting dresses of Amarian and Minmatar girls in bandage dresses, and people were like, "Oh gosh, you know, I don't want to see dresses of sexy girls that play EVE." So we created a new group called Jita. And Jita, anything goes, as is Jita, you know. And people were like, "But you're the Pope of New Eden. Why didn't you create Amar?" And that would be because then you would have to abide by the scriptures. Only pray and be of holiness. I said, fuck that. We're making Jita.
I love that response.
Oh, it's been awesome. We have 400 members so far, and we've just been posting Pope stuff, and people kept writing me. They were like, so I want to fly with the Pope. People are leaving alliances and their corps because of, like you just talked about, a little bit of lack of content. And apparently this whole Pope thing is generating content. So there are people coming over. We've created, oh my God. The Mittani said, he told me of his plans at FanFest about taking over Providence. And he said, you know, do you have an alliance that you can occupy Providence? And at the time, I was like, no, I have one corp, which is me, a couple alts, and some friends. He says, okay, we can help with that if you need. And it turned out we've started a little independently and a little bit of advice. We created House Singularity as the executor corp, so that's not open to recruitment. We created the Honor Fleet, which any noob and spy can join, or alt. We're actually encouraging alts. No API checks. We don't really care because that's totally stupid for checking for spies. Really. You can't find spies with API checks. So we don't care. We're going to play in such a way that you can be a spy and you're not going to get any intel data because we're just going to lose ships. That's our whole purpose. We want to fly, we want to lose ships and create content.
Sounds like EG.
Yeah, I hate kill boards. I mean, I was a member of Cry Havoc, and Max got his percentage up to 97%, and then I was like, so this sucks. I like losing ships, so now I'm down to like 75% or something, and I'm having more fun. I've seen people, I've seen killboard Nazis and doctrine Nazis, which yes, you do need a doctrine if you are going to take over sovereignty in space, and you want to be uber like rooks and kings and stuff like that. You have to abide by that, but not if you're going to have fun. If you just want to go out, lose ships, and have garbage fleets, and I have one of the best FCs on the show with me right now, and he can counter this point. But there is something to be said about just logging on, getting into a fight, and losing ships.
Well, since you asked, I can counter that, but I think that the way it is now, if you actually want to really win a fight of sorts, you do need to have an organized doctrine and some other try-hard stuff. And I think that in general, people enjoy winning more than they enjoy losing.
Yes. That's
however, what I don't like about the current meta is that back in the days, we used to be exactly like what you describe. Everyone get in, take whatever ship you have in your hangar, go out there and fight something. And even if you would run into a Cry Havoc style try-hard fleet, you would still be able to crash into them and take a couple of expensive ships down, and everyone would be happy. Nowadays in the meta with so much logistics, it often happens that you crash into a fleet and suicide into them and you get nothing, no kills whatsoever. And I think that's a shame.
You remember the DVRB 700 Drakes?
Yeah, literally clogging their guns with our corpses. And it worked, because the day after, we suicided Drakes into them for 12 hours straight, and the day after they were too tired to show up anymore.
Yeah, and like I said, militarily, you do need doctrines, but a lot of people in the big alliances have alts in RVB and in red versus blue. And there's major CEOs and alliance directors and fleet commanders that play in RVB on the down low because they can get into some really cool frigate fights. So in a way, what searching for a mission, I guess, I'm kind of looking at this whole concept of the Sixth Empire as an RVB, an interstellar flight club for the big alliances. And because what I've said with the RVB, with Max's proclamations, was that all Capsuleers of New Eden are de facto members of the Sixth Empire, which we know what the four empires are: Caldera, Galantium, or Minmatar, and we know the fifth is the Jove. But we are the Sixth Empire, that outer ring of Capsuleers, that null-sec Capsuleers, those high-sec Capsuleers. We are a force to be reckoned with, so much so that they created Concord to keep us in our place. And corrupt bastards they are. Did I say that? Is that a press release? Damage control, handle that for me, okay? So yeah, they're kind of corrupt. We pay them all these fees. We pay them bribes. We pay, to go to war and all that. And now they're starting to become their own little entity. They don't even care about the empires. Now, if you notice what I'm doing, I'm intermixing a little bit of real nullsec with a little bit of role play stuff together, because over the years we've been seeing CCP take a direction where some of the role play is now entering the game. You can go back my history is an era. You know, you can go back really far, but the Sancha was one example where they just created PvE. The faction warfare, where it actually had an effect on system, is part of it. And now we're seeing the mysterious drifters come out that are plaguing Jamyl.
Well, and speaking of roleplay and like the Jamyl, and actually the drifters as well. The drifters recently wiped out an Amar Navy fleet in Safazai. The system was.
Yep.
Can you tell us anything about that or opinions?
Yeah, I have a lot of opinions.
Oh man, I don't know if we have enough time for this.
Probably not. I've actually written a few Google Docs out on that because
one wasn't enough, guys. One Google Doc was not enough.
One wasn't enough. No. What I've been told from CCP and from people who are against the People's Pope is that that even detractors from CVA write me privately, and they're like, dude, I have to fight you in public and on the forums and on Facebook and wherever, but I just want to really let you know that, yeah, I think Jamyl's going down and we really support what you're doing, but in character I have to fight you. So that's been kind of funny. And from what I hear, walls and walls of text have been created from various forums, not just EVE forums, but private forums that I don't even see. So I've been getting, I've been told people are actually resubscribing just to participate within the whole Jamyl bashing thing and CVA and our own corp. So we created our own alliance, the Sixth Alliance, but I'll get back to that part to answer your question. Yeah, so a couple things happened. In Safazan, the hundreds of drifters came in and annihilated the Amar Navy fleet. And so what we've seen in a patch release is that the Amar Navy has their AI upgraded, and the drifters have an upgraded AI. So this could be a very interesting time coming up in the next couple weeks. There is a question, though, because before that event, the Jamyl was scanned by a Sisters of not a Sisters of Eve, a Society of Conscious Thought vessel, which is a Jovian corporation, but the pilot was Knid. Now, the Knid, for those that don't know, there are 5 houses that can become the Emperor, 5 key houses of Amar. And the Knid was the 6th, well, it was the 5th house, but they got, for reasons, they are now their own independent kingdom, although they are governed by the sovereign Jamyl Sorum. So the king is the king, but the sovereign is Jamyl. So they're still members of the Amar Empire, but they are not in the running to become emperor or empress, emperor family anymore, which is kind of interesting because they have been emperors in the past. And the Knid are the holders of the unmodified sacred documents of the Amar religion. So their time may be coming. But the other families, let's see if I can do this from memory, Khorazor, Kador, Tashmir Khan, Sarum, and Ardashapur. I got it.
That's pretty impressive. Just say I could name none of them.
This shit's hard. And Max, his father is Tashmir Khan, and his mother is Kador. So we are launching an inquisition not against the Amarian people, the Amar institutions. Max is true Amar, not actually against CVA. we're not at war with CVA. We're just asking them a simple question: is I am a man of faith. I believe in the Amarian ideals of God, and I do not believe that God had the ability to lift Jamyl out of her death and be ordained. So I think she's up to some shenanigans. So I asked, the Inquisition is simply, do you support the evil monster, the criminal who has fooled us all, or are you actually true Amarians, and do you believe in the Amarian people? Do you believe in the 5 or 6 houses of Amar? Can any one of those rulers rise to power and displace the chaos and the disorder that Jamyl has brought upon not just Amar, but all of New Eden? And I support all of New Eden, but I do believe the Amar has the golden promise for humankind. So I freed the slaves. People say, oh, I'm an Amarian, so I'm a slaver. I'm saying, well, you haven't read my proclamations now, have you?
Well, and a quick question for you from chat is, what ship would you like 3D printed? I'm assuming he wants to send you a 3D printed ship.
Oh my God! When I first saw the Abaddon, I fell in love with the Abaddon. That and the Revelation, the capital ship. Those are the 2 ships I fell in love with. I love the Apocalypse also. The Armageddon is a funny ship, but I love those Amarian ships. I actually, when I first joined EVE, I started with a Kaldari character, and I learned missiles, and I flew Ravens and Drakes and all that. But I just kept looking at the Amar ships more and more and more and more, and so I created Max. And I was like, I'm going to fly Amar. And I don't know, some people think I may have gone a little overboard, and that I might need some medications, but...
So I have a question for you. This whole thing is so far away from what I do in EVE, but it's actually quite fascinating. Is there any way that you and the people into this can actually influence the events happening in EVE, or is it all out of client, basically?
Yes, so it has actually. There's been some in-game events, and so I call him Cardinal Hilmar. Hilmar at FanFest said, he said 3 things that were very important. Less talk, more action. He also said the Capsuleers of New Eden will shape the future of the cluster. And here's the big one: no more manifest destiny. Now, what that meant to me was a green light to bring down Jamyl, because out of character, we know she's infected by the other. Tony Gonzalez wrote about she hates the Amar position that she's in. She hates being the Empress. She doesn't like the religion. But in game, we can't know that. We're not allowed to play that. And what we are seeing now is there are some live events that are occurring where the drifters and role players are starting to go in, and they're actually exploring the wormholes where the role players are finding, you know, the sources where the drifters are coming from. And there was actually Concord, CCP, responded heavily. They put like 50 plex reward on a player character because they used one of the wormhole systems. Now, I'm going to do some tinfoil. Here's your spin zone or pontification time. I almost got confirmation, but it was somebody said we have no comment. So here's the spin. CCP, in filming the scope videos, showed Helen Tukos's corpse floating in space where the Drifter Armada was, which was in a second scope video. And what they did is they left the corpse there in space at that location. Well, lo and behold, this player corporation went in and they're research and scientists. These are hardcore role players that are actually doing in-game stuff, and they found that wormhole. And not only that, they found Helen Tukos's body. And one of the pilots, Raish, I forget it, but one of the pilots actually took the body, and CCP was like, "Oh wait, that's a unique in-game item. We're gonna need that back."
Whoops.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to need that back, and we're putting a 50-plex bounty on you. And that wasn't enough. So they said, we're putting a plex bounty on all of the 5 people that were in your fleet. And we're going to make -10 standings to all of them, to all the corporations and the empires. And Concord just fully overreacted in the first time in history against a real-life player and a corp. And you know, I was hoping that at least he would turn it into the Amar representative, because when he wasn't answering, he had the number 2 person, the Chamberlain of Amar, call him and say, "Okay, if you're not going to give it to Concord, give it to us." And he was not so sure that he could be trusted, so he gave it directly to Concord so they would alleviate all the charges against them. And thus, you know, thus nothing happened. But it was kind of interesting, and you know, I was kind of hoping he would hold that, because that would have been about. Put that bounty on me. I will die just to donate that money back to the game.
That's what I was thinking. It's like,
Yeah, that's a free cash cow. Just kill me. I'm a capsuleer. I'm not going to be hurt.
But this whole thing, I think, is a lot more interesting and subtle than what they tried a while ago. I suppose it was after BR5, the big fight, and they realized that big fights gain publicity, or get publicity from it, and then new people try the game. They tried to do like a staged event like that with that Kaldari Titan that they made a lot of noise about. Remember that?
Yes, yeah.
That event where the Kaldari Navy was supposed to save it, and the players would determine the outcome of the fight. And it turned into a huge disappointment for a lot of people, because they made so much noise about that event that everyone came down to participate, and the system was capped at a certain level of players, so it was just people trying to get in and failing. Whereas this whole event seems much more stretched out and more, well, okay, putting 50 plex bounty on the player is not very subtle, but it's more interesting than that, I think. This is a better approach to it.
Yeah, they definitely are going like the long term. You know, people are saying, you know, I'm getting tired. I want stuff to happen, but I'm old. I actually remember the Vietnam War, and I remember, you know, a lot of the wars we've gone through, and stuff happens slowly. You know, World War II took 4 or 5 years over time, and you know, events happen at a rate, and I really like what CCP's doing, like Caroline Starr involving a player in that. And there's only a small role-playing team at the CCP that's coming up with this stuff, and fortunately or unfortunately, we keep throwing them curveballs, you know, like the pilot who stole Helen Tukos's body.
That is the beauty of it, though. I mean, that is the one thing so unique about EVE, is that they give tools to us, and then we do things with them that they didn't expect on every level.
Right, and I've seen this from other players, and I preach this too, is that, you know, I was an nullsec player. I was in Cry Havoc briefly. I was a noob at the time, and Nully and PL Renner Corp, Black Core, and a resident of Proby and Volition Cult. So, you know, I know that the nullsec players look at the role-playing side, let's call it a side, and kind of diss on it, but they're lying to themselves. Every time they undock and participate in these major fleet battles or sovereignty change, you are a capsuleer, and you are actually changing the face of EVE Online on the map and so forth. So this is why, you know, we've created the Sixth Empire Alliance, which now we need something new, because we have corporations, we have alliances, we have coalitions, and now we need coalitions of coalitions. I don't know what to call it, a confederacy or something, but I don't want the flag thing, you know.
Careful now.
Yeah, we're kind of getting the little gray zone there.
Confederacy.
The sixth empire confederacy. No, I don't want that word, you know. Something else, because there's too much baggage with it. It's like, but there's got to be some other thing of these coalition of coalitions, and this is the Interstellar Fight Club. This is where, you know, Goonswarm and NC Dot are members of this anti-organization that's out there. So yeah, we have our sights on Providence. We you know, they call it an invasion, and that's not really accurate, because we called our travel agents months ago, and we booked hotel rooms and beaches and drinks by the pool, and we're coming for a visit. And recently, though, some of the members of CVA have been so virulent with their vitriol that I was like, you know, we're coming temporarily and we're going to leave. And even though the Mittani was like, well, maybe, I'm starting to go, well, maybe we need to set up a long-term occupation in Providence. Dun, dun, dun.
Soon.
Soon.
We need additional forces.
Oh, we need
an organization that is for hire.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Deal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. OPSEC.
Guys, so we're starting to run out of time. If you guys have any questions for Mr. V or Max, go ahead and drop them in chat. Make sure you tag TheMittani.com, the channel name. That way we can. Way I can see them.
Providence is timed to European time zone, right? I
think it is.
I like what I just saw in chat. Somebody said about reclamation. So I've started talking about on the roleplay side that, you know, this is the age of redemption, and people are like, no, we must reclaim. Well, here is the problem. I'm going to go in character right now for a second here. To the New Eden cluster, you may think that the Amar reclamation has been put aside by my order of the age of redemption. The problem is, we cannot reclaim the souls when our own empire has been corrupted and stolen by an illegal and false empress. We must reach our redemption and reclaim our own souls before we can reach out and spread our love to the cluster. The reclaiming will begin after we reach our redemption. Blessings be.
I think
Don't you dare laugh, Brian. You would be crucified on the spot. You infidel.
I'm sorry!
You heathen. Clearly, Max needs an arm of force.
I do, and I need fleet commanders, and, you know, so, yeah, we need that infrastructure to come in. I'm expensive.
Alright, so guys, type in chat so we can do this giveaway. Thanks so much to Max and V coming on. V chastising me right there after the speech. I'm a little upset about that, actually.
Who will save your soul?
Oh dear.
Oh.
You have that at the ready?
Oh, we just got rickrolled again.
Fascinating. I don't know what just happened to me the last half hour, but it's fascinating.
Aren't you happy you came on now?
Yeah. I'm just really surprised that I like the first time I saw a picture of you, Max, was the picture with Mittani, and you looked super serious. So I expected you to walk into FanFest being all like in character, super serious, kiss my ring, infidels. But instead you're kind of like a jolly guy, and the whole roleplay thing kind of just happened.
Well, Max's wife, oh my God, it's too bad we're out of time because something actually major did happen. Some griefer tried to tried to grief the whole Max movement by creating a character in my wife's name, and then started accusing me of abuser and all that. And oh my God, the role play community! Please allow me this time.
Yeah.
The role play community, those against me, those for me, wrote. CCP Falcon said, "Oh my God, 100 people have wrote me a letter because this person broke something in role play. There actually are some rules. There's what's called metagaming, and there's called god modding. And this person did a god mod smackdown by stealing this character and trying to change the story that Max had created. And so I had a friend of mine, Rhiannon, in England. She actually created a character, and we had to rename my wife's name with a different spelling. And we had to change all of our Google Docs, all of our forum posts. We had to change everything. And we were doing that as a defensive move. And then lo and behold, the community said, wrong. That is totally wrong for that person to do that. Max, we support the memory of your wife. And I don't know fully what happened, but that character no longer exists. It was biomasked or something. And all the posts on the forum were deleted magically. and you know, but that was a really awesome, and from me as Charles White to the entire EVE role-playing community, thank you for that. That was just a tremendous vote of support, you know, that we as a community can actually role-play and have fun with this and abide by the decorum of rules of role-play. And it's not for everybody, but for those that do partake in it, it is actually fun. There are all kinds. Hey, Jamyl, can you get me a beer? Okay. Okay. So thank you for that, because that was a really interesting. So Max does not smile. He is serious because of.
I'm actually going to have to cut you off. Unfortunately, we hit the time. Again, next show we got to start.
Whoa!
I'm sorry. But Dortz NC, buddy, you've won the EVE Sourcebook. Thanks CCP for giving us the EVE Sourcebook to give away. So message the channel, man. Message channel with your real life contact details. That way we can send you a physical package. And guys, thank you so much to V and Max for coming on. V said he didn't want to go on boat show, so he came on mine. Just stir the pot there.
Don't you do this to me.
So that, guys, you guys have a great Saturday. We'll see you for the next show of the Undead Zone.
See you later, Laz. Snore Raven.